Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love Island UK Season 12, Week 6. Now, dare I say it, Chris, but where would you like to start today?
Well, I want to start with Meg and Dejan, but however, Dave, this show has been spot on. This whole 6-week show, I literally want to watch it every night. They're all a bunch of bellends. There's nobody I'm really rooting for now at all. Are we? Even Joe isn't rooting for anybody now, Dave, but we'll get into that later.
We will get into that.
And we have got a voice message from Joe, which I cannot wait.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I cannot wait to play to us all. So amazing stuff from Joe. But yeah, I think like as a show, the way it's gone with the back end of the movie night, you know, Meg and Dejan, it's just this nonsense. I mean, Meg just flies off the handle. She's always got something to say. Dejan, I think some of what she says, there's merit in it. I think she's right. He is playing the game. He's very flirty. We talked about this last week. He does sort of, when he says one thing to her and there's, you know, something to the girls and like he's open for a relationship and all that. But I think like as it's going, I think they're trying to play the game. We've had the love word, Dave, this week. You know, we knew they were exclusive last week. I'm not buying any of it. I'm not buying it at all. I still don't believe that they're going to be happily ever after. I think they know now. We've got 2 weeks to go. Let's try and play the Love Island game. And I don't believe that they love each other. I could be wrong. They may end up having like, you know, 3 or 4 kids living happily ever after, 2 dogs or whatever, a cat, you know, a giraffe or whatever they want. I don't know. But I just think I'm not buying it. It's Love Island. We know we've been here before. I can't see the spark between them, if that makes sense. Some of the couples, you can see there's a spark, can't you? And I mean, you have it in real life. You see couples and go, how are they together? It looks like there's no affection. I just can't.
Sounds
and
like
I know we're
married.
getting... Not mine, Dave. Samantha listens to this if you don't mind. But I know,
Homer, I should say.
Get you on it, Dave. We need to get you on it. But I do think.
Oh yeah, I'd fucking fit right in on Love Island.
No, but as a presenter, me and you presenting it, we're like the ant in deck.
Abs.
Yeah, we're the ant in deck, Dave. You know, like if the 2 middle-aged ant in deck. So we're probably younger than ant in deck actually. But anyway.
Oh, I think they're even older than me. I mean, I'm sure I've said this before, but I used to get the whole Duncan because in the 90s I had the curtains and obviously the younger face then, and so I used to get called Duncan all the time. But yeah, so I think they must be because they were on Biker Grove, right?
Yes,
and they did Let's Get Ready to Rumble. What a tune that was!
Tune, Dave.
Yeah. But yeah, I have to say, I think what you're saying about Dejan and Meg, I honestly, I thought I was going to come in for a little bit of stick last week because I sort of said, you know, Megan seems to fly off the handle like anything. And I thought, you know, people might come after me a bit for that. Fortunately, 1 episode into the week, she's flying off the handle. So I was like, there you go. I think I got away with that. So, but the problem is, what I can't tolerate, it just jars with me, is this thing of like, oh, we're so in love, aren't we? Oh, it's just so amazing. Oh, amazing. And the problem is, they're like a couple from EastEnders or something. You know, and again, I bet they, you know, if they had couples Instagram, they'd be like, oh, our lives are so fantastic. And, oh, we're just so in love. We're love's young dream. And then the slightest little thing that goes wrong, get back in here now. Like proper EastEnders over the top. She goes fucking way over it. But, I mean, the whole spark thing you mentioned, that was a theme, wasn't it? Because... they had it from their so-called best mates in the villa, Harry and also Helena, you know, were both in the movie night caught out saying they don't have a spark. And then, of course, they're going to disagree with that. But isn't it funny how that was really quite cutting what they said? But But because they're mates, they kind of, and Helena apologized to Megan for it. And it's like, oh, right, okay, I appreciate you saying that. Can you imagine if like Shakira or Tony had said something like that? They'd have been in for the high jump.
100%, 100. And I'm with you because then again, though, Dave, I think we should just call him Harry Potter because he has got a spell over everybody. It doesn't matter who it is, his mates, any of the girls. There is something about this guy which I can't see. I think he's got, I've said it before about people, but he's got the personality of an IKEA wardrobe. He's got nothing going for him at all. He's just like a plank of wood.
Weird, isn't it?
I don't get it about him, but there's something. Maybe it's them stupid Speedos he's wearing all the time. I don't know. I mean, he's got the 1970s porn star haircut. Maybe there's something to do with that, but there's just something I cannot see. And that's not a jealousy thing at all. It's just, I just do not understand. Some of the contestants you see, whether it's the girls or lads, you can see they've got something about like an aura, haven't they? They're all good looking people in their own right, but I can't see what the attraction is. Off, Dave. Right. So it's a book.
Sorry. Right. So just with your thing about Harry Potter there, I thought I'd ask a bit of AI. What would be a good porn pun name? Harry Pecker, Harry Porker, Wand Wielder.
Mine's a small one, Dave, but one.
Something in the half-hard prince. Sorry, you just sent my mind off on a little tangent there. So yeah, we'll go for Harry Porker, I think.
Harry Porker. I like Harry Pecker.
Harry Pecker, that also works. Brilliant. Harry Pecker, the wand wielder. Little wand wielder.
Well, what do you think, Dave? Because I've said it every week. I don't get that he can just be really rude or really doesn't give a shit. Everyone just accepts it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. There's two characters on here, and I think Harry sees himself as the Jedi, and Harrison is the Padawan. Yes. So we've got a Qui-Gon Jinn and an Obi-Wan thing going on there. I don't get it. They both seemingly can do whatever, and I can't decide. Is it just that he is casting some Jedi mind tricks, or are the girls just, are they almost, he's so obvious, they almost think he's having a joke?
Yes.
But I don't think it's that. I can't tell if it is just completely, it is stepped over the boundary into Towie or something, and they're all just playing a character. They're sort of playing themselves, it's not scripted as such, but they know what's going to happen. Because I'm baffled by how much the girls have been putting up from these shitty blokes, to be honest. I mean, it's a fucking, not to get too serious, but it's terrible example to people, isn't it? Because they both just do whatever they want, and it seemingly doesn't matter. And the thing is, Harry has all the weasel words as well, doesn't he? But he's constantly caught out. He's not even clever about it. That's the thing that I don't get, that he gets caught out. And Helena, by the end of the week, was starting, there were signs that she might be slightly bothered by it. What's it called, Emma? A fish cake?
Yeah.
I wondered if she was just stumbling. She didn't want to say a fucking see you next Tuesday, and so came up with your fish cake. I don't know what it was. But yeah, I don't see it with Harry at all. Something very weird going on there. There's something that smells off. And also with Emma as well. I can't believe these are real people being their real authentic selves. Or if they are, there's no hope for humanity.
No, well, no, there is no hope for humanity. If you use Love Island as a barometer for that, Dave, we're all fucked. But
true.
I'm with you. This Emma situation's made no sense because she came in, she had not have a good word to say about him. She even said, like, other people have said about Harry, she's warned off, like, Helena. Now, you say about the guys, and I will say that I think this season the guys have been appalling pretty much, all the way through, other than Tommy, Dave, but good guys don't always win. Do they, Joe?
You do get tipped for the final, though, apparently. Doesn't always work out, though.
Dave, well, I've got to say, the reality radar pulled out Harry and Helena, you know what I mean? The mystic Chris was there. He's still on the cards. But I think you're right. There's something going on there. I mean, you know, as we know, my favourite superhero is Superman. He's tattooed right there. Now he's...
Can't quite see it, can you? You see
yeah,
it? We've got the old subtle Superman logo there.
Oh, good work. Dave's got it on as well. Brilliant, brilliant. Means nothing if you're listening on audio, but there you go. I will say, maybe it's a Clark Kent effect. Maybe it's like, you know, he wears glasses and nobody realizes who he has, Dave, because he has this like thing. And then all of a sudden, the Wizard of Oz, just as we always said, the Wizard of Oz thing, and it's nothing behind the curtain. Because you're right, his behavior, his attitude towards a lot of the women, his advice to his mates is fucking shocking. That is just the advice he gives to the lads. Basically, he's putting the lads at a disadvantage, and it's like, you're in this to win. You're in this to win, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not wrong with that. That's the name of the game. We totally understand the lucrative career these guys can have afterwards. You know, we've called it out so many times, and we're a broken record now if you've been listening from the start. So apologies, but he's playing the game. But you're right. We've never had somebody come in and be such a character. And also, Dave, he wasn't even the worst person this week. He's had Bell End of the Week for 5 weeks, whether it's been a joint one, and he isn't. And we'll talk about that later. But I think you're right. I think, like, as a casting, he has been gold. Helen has been the gold as well because of the way she was the other week. And I think, yeah, she does say stuff about him. Do we need to be concerned? It's like, you should have been concerned on the second week when he was doing this. You weren't even together, but you've persisted. He's the sort of guy, to me, who would go out on these nightclub things when they're together after the show, sleep with a load of girls, you know, fucking dirt diggler it, think he's the fucking Don, and come back in and she's forgive him. And that's the way he's gone on the show. And he's been able to do that consistently, not just with her, with some of the other girls. And it's like you said, it's such a bad example, forgetting the jokes and talk about the show. If you were a parent and that was like someone who your daughter was with, you'd have him outside, strung upside down by his bollocks or something. He'd be just...
Especially like Emma's parents. Like, I probably a generational thing maybe, but I couldn't stand by and just watch that. You know, unless I was in on the game. And that's with Harry and Emma in particular, I can't help but feel it is a predetermined game.
Yes.
You know, just the way they're acting is just not, it's not right. Not that it's not right, but it doesn't add up. None of it does.
No.
And so the way she's been, you can tell everyone else has had enough of her already, but just being really quite over the top. And Harry's gaslighting game is next level, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing as well. Like you say, you can imagine in real life, he's you know, he'll get forgiven, but that's not after a full heavy dose of gaslighting where it's like, no, just went out, you know, just decided to crash on a mate's couch or something, you know. And the thing is, he'll literally walk in the villa. I don't know if he forgets that he's on reality TV and just like completely, you know, have a very flirty conversation over here and then just say, oh no, just chatting, like, you know, and just, it's such bullshit. And I think, honestly, Chris, you said about the 6 weeks. I think the whole season has been good, but this week in particular, I think has been great. And so even though I'm like partially disgusted by the behavior of these people, it has kept me watching every single night. It has been good.
I agree, honestly. I do agree. I mean, off the back of the movie night, and we've gone on a proper tangent there, so apologies everyone, but I do think, like, we lost Ben and Andrade. Well, nobody really cares. The least compatible couple. Fucking
How did he last as long as he did? Unbelievable. With a personality like that. He was a good looking bloke. That was it.
Yeah, well, he's going to go back to his fake taxiing, Dave, and you know what I mean? I'm sure he'll pick up a bit of business.
How do you make money from a fake taxi, though? I mean, if you're not driving people from place to place, you're not picking up on any fares, so how do you make money?
I'm trying to think of a smart ass answer here, Dave. I would just say
you're gonna have to find other ways than fares to get your income, I think.
Well, obviously, Dave, he's very good at getting tips, I believe. But we'll move over there. Well, they've gone. I'm not bothered about them. I just think
Yep.
Ben
Not before
can
time.
go. If not, he could do his Ali G impression, which he's done for like fucking 6 weeks. Nonsense. Dick. But then we had quite a good one this week, Dave. So, I've talked about Joe and like playing up to like, the fact that Joe said Tommy was going to win, but Shakira and Ty were the most compatible couple in the challenge, which I really did like this. I've got to hold my hands up. We've gone after the producers and they've tried to bring it. And I know they may have brought this into other like the US version or the Aussie version or whatever, but they seem to, at the moment, they've got the right mix of the just dumping people, bringing things in. So we had this compatibility thing, which we've seen before, but it was Shakira and Ty. I think that's probably more Shakira has been quite popular. I have seen a lot of people not liking Shakira, saying her and Tony are the mean girls, not Helena and Meg and that. I don't believe that for a minute. Meg, I think she's top of the tree for being just pain in the arse at times, the way she speaks to people. But I do think the fact that they said you need to dump a couple and nobody thought it was going to be Tommy and Lucy, Dave, but I fucking loved it. And I was there, and I know Joe has had a wonderful holiday in Cos. She's had a lovely break with a boyfriend. It's been a great time and everything. But you do realise that I was texting her, Dave, and all I sent her was, no context, a Tony Soprano meme with a big cigar, and he was just going. and then she messaged me when I've been catching up by the pool. Oh my God, you're going to be unbearable, me and Dave. And then I have actually got a voice note, Dave, which I'll play in a minute. So what did you think of that before we get into Joe's amazing apology stroke? Climb down, Dave, because you never doubt the reality radar, my friend.
Well, all I say to Joe is, don't worry. Chris takes these things very magnanimously and with humility. And it's not as if for the last few years he's been going on about Davide and Ekin-Su, So I'm sure Tommy will be, just forgotten about very, very soon. And we will have a song to play as an outro, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't do that, Joe, so don't just blame it all on me.
So I must admit, so the first, it did make me laugh. I mean, I was surprised. I was shocked.
Yeah.
And I'll come on to why in a minute. But all I could think was, with Joe being on holiday as well, I thought, well, it's a good job, really, because she'd be fucking throwing things at the TV going, oh, fuck off. He's the nicest guy. He's the only genuine one in there. And like, fucking, I'm sure she doesn't just think about our podcast, but I'm sure at some point she'd have thought, oh, fucking hell.
Good old Chris.
Yeah. So, but I was surprised, and I think that was one of the most blatant remove your rivals out of the way by Shakira, because let's face it, Tali didn't have any fucking say in that at all, and there were other people that could have gone before, Tommy and Lucy. However, I thought it was a great move. Just because Shakira must know that she's popular. I'm sure the producers must whisper certain things in their ear and stuff. And so she must have known that Tommy and whoever Tommy got with was a rival for the final. So, just get rid of him. And I haven't seen a move like that for a while.
I loved it. And that's where you get this stupid, as you said, it's your quote years ago. It's so right. It's not Friend Island. And that's what they don't seem to get, because I think there was a game where he said Tommy was the most popular guy, and I think Shakira was the most popular girl. So, Dave, why wouldn't you do that? If you've come from like, if you I don't know where she lives or her background, let's say you come from a normal life, the money that's
like
on
Burnley
offer,
or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you've in a normal life, you've got a normal job, normal family. Don't know what her upbringing is, so forgive me, but that's a lot of money. So why wouldn't you try and take out your rivals? Forget the love nonsense, because we know all that's fucking bullshit. But as I say, I just want someone to steal the money. I think Shakira could be the one day, the reality radar, she has got it in her to go, I tell you, and it isn't Ty who she's with now, because she did recouple with Connor. But I reckon, she may not, but I would love, still not seeing it if she just says, I'm taking the money, pal. See ya. She would be the ultimate contestant, Dave. I always go on about it every series, but I think she didn't give a shit. So if Connor starts pissing her about, because I think they had a fallout this week. Connor's backing all the boys wrongly. he's backing some of the boys on some of them things. So maybe. But Dave, would you like to listen to Joe's
I can't wait.
Oh, all right. So yeah, we'll just play that right now.
So here I am after 5 days on holiday in Cars. I don't know if you can hear the rain in the background of Nottingham. Ugh. Anyway, I guess we should catch up. I watched Love Island when I was away, and I got to say I'm glad I've waited until now to catch up with you, because the Tommy situation, which, as you know, I said he would win, feels like a different series. Like, so much has happened this week. I feel like, should we even be talking about Tommy? So what I will say is, of course, Chris, I was wrong. But, and there is a but, the producers obviously saw he was the bookie's favourite. They didn't want him to win because he wasn't bringing any drama. And so I would say for 2, 3, 4 days, we barely saw him. And that is why he has gone. And so is that half an apology? I think it is. What I did want to say, though, on this catch-up is, fucking hell, the Harrison, Lauren, Tony situation has driven me insane. Couldn't wait to watch it every day, but it drove me insane. And I'll tell you why, on a serious note. Because I thought Tony and Shakira and people like that were going in there to be strong and to teach fucking men like Harrison that you can't treat girls like this. And the fact that Tony repeatedly, and she's a strong woman, that Tony repeatedly let him back upset me for the world, because I just thought, fuck it, if strong women still take men back after they've fucking clearly lied and been a twat, then where are we? And that's upset me on a serious note this week, because like young girls are watching that and forming an opinion of how they should act and how they should be treated. And even Lauren taking him back if she does, now that they're both on the outside together, and she will. Why? But also, it's teaching men that it's okay. That's what's fucked me off. Anyway, this voice note's already gone on way too long. But little side note, who do we think is going to win? I think Meg and Dee are playing a textbook Love Island game. I think they'll be top 3. I think they could win. I love you. I think I'm falling in love with you. Oh, bore off. But Dave, darling, you and I have got to start preparing. We've got to start preparing for the possibility that the reality radar is right. Oh, I don't know how we're going to cope. Ugh. Missed you.
Well. There is not 100% accuracy for nothing, David. Thank you for that, Joe. But no, I mean, joking aside, I think what Joe said, there is a serious point to that, because I know we haven't talked about Harrison and how it all ended for him, but she's right. Like, his behaviour has been terrible, hasn't it? And I think like someone stepped in towards the end of the week and sort of gone, what are you doing, bad mate? The producers have definitely, because he was on a bit of an apology arc, wasn't he? And then there was this remorse and everything. But like the fact that he'd slept with Lauren, gets with Tony, thinks it's funny, and then he has to tell Tony. But then I think, was it Connor or Harry was like, don't compliment her. First thing he does when he sees her, oh yeah, you look really good in that bikini. And so, I mean, I'm not a fan of Tony anyway, but I've got to say, Joe's right. That's the only thing Joe is right on, Dave. Let's be honest on that. But no, she's right, and a great perspective from a lady as well to say that, because Samara said the same. Like, what the hell is that teaching people? Obviously, we're older, we've got that experience, but we're guys. We can see bad behaviour, and it's been atrocious. But to hear in Joe's voice, that's like, joking aside, it's a serious thing that they need. That's the problem with these sort of shows, unfortunately.
Mm. So, I mean, so just finishing off on the Tommy thing, I at the time, I did think it was quite funny. She is right, though. It seems like a different series. There's so much that's happened this week. And yeah, Tommy hadn't really had any screen time as well. So, it does smell a bit. I'm saying about Shakira, and I did say that maybe, the producers had a word to get out a main rival, but maybe it was just the fact that he was boring. Maybe that was the thing, that they just wanted him out of the way. But no, I think I popped in our group chat that Tony and Lauren were actually really pissing me off this week. Now, that might seem unfair because the main antagonists have really been Harry and Harrison. They are the shitty blokes who are behaving terribly. I haven't seen misogyny on that level for a long time on Love Island, and this is a quite misogynistic show. But this has just been a completely different level. But you take that, and you take the fact that they're behaving like shits, the pair of them, but then you add into that mix how Tony and Lauren have behaved, and then they're constantly sort of battling over him. I just, it has really annoyed me this week, because Joe said it there. I think there's a perception that Tony is this really strong woman. No, she's just fucking gobby. She's not demonstrated anything about being a strong woman at all, because really at the first sign of trouble, she should have fucking sacked Harrison off. But if not the first sign, the fucking second time. Maybe how about the third time or the fourth time? But no, she keeps going back and she keeps saying, oh, he's so bad. And then, oh, what, going all gooey, like, why are you smiling at me that way? And it's really annoyed me. But then Lauren as well, she got the ultimate kind of betrayal. Like, they slept together, and then, he clearly, I mean, it was Tony, to be fair, who selected him. But Lauren could see that, well, that's because he's giving her the signals as well. It wasn't just out of nowhere. But then when she gets voted off, she's like, oh, come out with me. And then we get the teary exit and stuff. And I do agree, that smells like a kind of producer influence as well, doesn't it? That it's like, look, having one completely misogynistic prick on the show is enough, and we've already earmarked Harry potentially, definitely for the final. I mean, that'll be the biggest travesty, won't it? I can see fucking Women's Aid are going to be going nuts, aren't they? And rightly so if he fucking wins it. But yeah, I just think, like I say, the root cause, the main problem is the bloke's behaviour. But the girls putting up with it, I don't know. Is this just a weird thing that's happening on this particular season of Love Island? I really hope it's not a macro trend, because it seems to be going backwards on everything I've observed in life the last few years.
Yeah, you know what? And I think you put it perfectly. I think one of the things as well, there's a bit of tea with this as well, is that apparently Harrison and Lauren were in, I'd never really knew this, so I've probably come across it, not spotted it, but there was an article in the Daily Mirror this week that Lauren and Harrison were actually plucked from the dummy islanders that they send in a couple of weeks before Love Island goes on. So they send in a load of these would probably end up being contestants down the line, like we saw with Olivia being in the adverts and the trailers at the start, and then she appears because it's a circle of people. What they do is they send in a load of islanders for the camera work and the sound and everything. So they go in, we stay there, they do a bit of Love Island, and apparently Lauren and Harrison were actually together in there as a couple. They're saying it's fake. They've known each other, but the whole time they've been in the villa, they've been acting like they've only just got together, whereas they actually had a relationship. I don't know whether it was a sexual relationship like they had, but there was a relationship about 2 or 3 weeks before. They felt there was chemistry between them, so they put them in there as bombshells, Casa Amor, or Harry's coming as a bombshell, and so all this has just been a fake load of nonsense, like we saw a few years ago on the Aussie one. So that's where them leaving is they actually were a bit of a couple, and they've just done it for the show, and that's why there's been this turn. But I do go back to the Tony thing, because as well, is when Harrison went to tell Tony and slept with Lauren, she just looked at him and went, oh, right, okay. She was going and laughing with him. And I'm like,
She
Don't
talks a
get it.
good
You're
game,
forgiven.
doesn't she? But
Yeah, I was
her
like,
actions don't back it up.
why are you forgiving this guy? I know you live in Las Vegas and we'll probably never see you again. He's more likely me and Sam would see you in Las Vegas, when we go in a few months than anyone else will. But she's not going to stay in the UK. It's a lot of nonsense, all this. We know she's here for the show. We've seen it in other franchises of Love Island where we get the English guy, the Irish girl, whatever. They come in the Aussie one or the
Sounds like a
American one,
joke's
whatever.
coming.
No. And the Scotsman. No. But the Scottish one.
We've been predicting a threesome.
Well, yeah. Well, Dave, you got that wrong, didn't you? But, was it me? But anyway, but what I do think that, like, this thing of them knowing each other, it was too cute. It's like, were they always going to leave together? And obviously she went first, then he went. And look, he didn't deserve the whole fucking X Factor, you raised me up bollocks the way he left.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck off. He's been a complete bellend. You're so right what you said. Misogynistic, just a prick, like it's treatment of him. And like Joe said, it's frustrating as a lady watching it going, why are you putting up with this? The young, I get that. But also, I suppose you've got to flip it and say, they're on a reality show. It's a popularity contest. They've got to stay in as long as they want. If they've been prepped before, they've watched Love Island, the longer you go in, the bigger the deals are. You leave in the first 2 weeks, nonsense. Obviously, we have Derek, a great listener and friend on Facebook, does a great rundown of the social media account, like where they started with to where they end, and you can see the jumps of people. I watched Sam watched that one with Paul, that podcast the other week. The guy, what's the bloody name? The girl who'd been on, and she started off at like 70,000. By the end of Love Island, she was on 800,000 like followers. There's your career. She said it paid for a house. That's why you've got to stay in. So morally, these guys probably make the skin crawl. But the fact that it's airtime, you're part of a storyline. You're not in the background like you said about Tommy. He's not seen him for 3 or 4 days. There may be stuff going on, but there's not a storyline. His storyline's gone. See, he's gone. So maybe it's that. We know Love Island. We've watched it so many times. We try and crack the code. We think we can crack it. And we've had a lot of this insider stuff. But I think ultimately them already having a relationship on the outside, it's fishy for me, Dave. It is like that. I've said to you in the past, and I'm sorry to cut across you, is the X Factor stuff where I know people when I did the TV work that they were paid money to go on as an act. And then you get the 2 people in the crowd who go, and the camera's zoomed in on them and goes, that's amazing. How the hell had they picked out 2 random people in the crowd of a couple of thousand and they can hear them so fucking clear?
A Coldplay concert.
I love the fact that woman he works in HR, was promoted by the cheating woman that week on LinkedIn, and she says she's complicit as well, and everyone at work is coming out now. Oh, Dave, that would have been, if they'd have had shit off them people, and I bet they did, that would have been the greatest Monday morning ever when people are coming. I bet they couldn't wait to get in. Brilliant.
I have to say, a brief tangent from Love Island. I don't think I've seen for a long time the volume of memes from that. I've seen like Fozzie Bear and
Piggy,
Miss Piggy, Obi-Wan, and what was Padme. Yeah, I've seen all of them. Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville.
I saw that one. I did see that. Yeah,
many. But yeah, sorry, it's on my mind when you talked about the in the crowd and zooming in. It was like, oh right, yeah. Topical, Chris, topical. But yeah, I think the thing is, it makes it almost seem a little bit more sinister if they are being guided by the producers for this really misogynistic kind of storyline, about these cheating shitbags. And, the girls just kind of put up with it and still chase after him. It makes it worse than it just being the girl's only decision then. Just the whole thing is really off. And again, isn't he supposedly like some kind of footballer, or what was his occupation? Because when they were making food, he was saying, "Oh, did you pick up on that?" He was saying, "Oh,
he's a footballer." He did say it.
Yeah, it's all made for you, and you don't have to make it or anything. It's like, yeah, but you're not actually a footballer of note. You're not actually like And what was it, Toby? Fucking hashtag FC or something like
FC,
that.
yeah.
You're just some fucking you're not a top level athlete. So I just found it all a bit weird. So here's the thing though. Harrison is 23. Harry's 30.
Yeah.
You know, it's also there is a bit of an age context thing there. So I think, you know, you can see this is probably how Harrison is, but he's kind of he's a new adult, if you like. Harry's the one for me that it's just like, clearly you're just a man-child, and setting just a really shitty example for blokes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on all this. Great, Dave, though. Great to talk about it.
Great TV. Love it.
Oh, I love it. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. But no, it is. It's good. Now, Dave, we've had, I know we used to get a stream of these, but we haven't had any of this series. We've had an email from our good friend Anto, Dave. So I just wanted to read this one out. It's a bit of a long one, but it's a cracking email and sent it in. So here we go. And so the title was, When I Thought I Was Out, They've Dragged Me Back In, Dave, Al Pacino style. You know, Chris and Dave, you both well. Well, where to begin? I promised myself I was going to watch Love Island this year. I told my wife it's not trapping me. Laugh out loud. I tapped out about week 3 with Love Island All-Stars in January and felt like my tolerance for some of these desperados and clowns had met its limit. So I didn't watch the first half of this series. I only got back involved after Casa, as you do. And it's been madness to say the least. Where do you even start? First off, I couldn't care less about any of the couples, as we might end up with a winner who wins by default rather than because they are liked and loved by the public. Now, that's true. Dejan, Harry and Harrison. What on earth is happening with these three? I've never seen such a bunch of absolute wankers, wastemen and clowns in my life on TV. I've watched a lot of TV. I just don't get how you can treat people like this and do it with a smile on your face and no level of empathy or need someone else to tell you you're wrong for it. This whole Harrison and Lauren Tony situation was just horrible. And I think it'll be a shocker for him when he gets out, because I don't think he's a guy who's built emotionally or psychologically for the amount of hate he's going to receive. I just feel he wants to have everything and doesn't want to let either of them get on with their lives. It's a bit like Tobey Maguire in his series where he's just acting like a child. But Tony made her bed because even though Harrison was a dickhead for sleeping with Lauren when he was obvious he didn't care enough for her, she decided to ignore the warning signs and continue. And the only reason she seems to leave him now was because the final straw was him flossing his teeth with Lauren. Oh, my word. With Lauren. I feel...
Steady. I wondered where that was going then.
I was thinking that. Oh, my God. Maybe we should have read that first. I feel Harry won't care because he's a narcissist. He loves the smell of his own farts. And of all the guy's confidence and bravado come from the fake hair transplant on his head, because I don't understand how someone... It looks like Jim Carrey's The Grinch when he smiles has that level of power over some of the girls. The way Cash handled the whole situation with Tony and Harrison was everything one would want to see from a young man managing a horrible situation. Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Very true. He showed at such a level of maturity, self-respect and emotional intelligence made Harrison look even dumber than he already is. And when he said to him in their talk, you wouldn't want someone to treat your little sister like that he moves in a smiley way. You know, if he feels like that. I don't know how, but some way the producers are going to do everything in their power to keep the dickhead trio, Dejan, Harry and Harrison in, and I feel they are now. There is another public vote. We will get them out, and I don't think they want that for the ratings. So I think at least 2 of them will remain till the final, which will be a horrible look. Anyway, sorry for the long-winded email. Enjoy your weekend, Anto. So great email, Anto, Dave. Forgot about Cash. Brilliant email, that.
Really good email, loads of good points. But one that we haven't touched on is that moment, I think, with Cash and Ty, you know, and again, you know, talk about the poor example. And it's kind of that hypocritical, conflicted part of you that's like, oh, I need the bastards. I need the misogynists. Well, actually, I don't need them. But that's the kind of entertaining bit. That's the bit that makes you kind of, you know, get really wound up and emotional about the show. But actually, in terms of people being grown-ups and behaving like actual people, you know, normal people, I thought that bit with Cash and Ty was pretty good, where, you know, Ty was comforting him. But also, Cash wasn't just taking any shit from Harrison. I said about Harrison being young and giving him a slight bit more of a pass than 30-year-old Harry. But they both suffer from the same thing, Harry and Harrison. It's all weasel words, all of it. Whether they're talking to the guys or they're talking to the girls, it's all wishy-washy nonsense that there's no depth to it. They're not actually talking about anything with any substance. Whereas Cash actually did seem to talk a bit of sense. And actually, another one I would say is Boris this week, who also seemed to talk a little bit of sense, because obviously with him and Emma, there was something, potentially going on there. And then he pretty much called her out, didn't he? He basically said, look, I'm not playing any of these games. But then after that, there's this silly nonsense. You had the whole thing where Emma's like, sniff my armpits, and like, you got this really fucking weird interaction with her and Harry. And then it's obvious Emma's just trying to stir up shit and just planting seeds of doubt in Helena's head. And it's like, it's as if she's talking to Helena about how much of a shitbag Harry is, which she's right there. But it's obvious, like, well, you're the fucking mug who was with him for 3 years, and you still seem to be sniffing round him. So who's the bigger mug? But then Boris seemed to be having none of it. He's just like, yeah, I'm not into this. You're obviously playing games. And so she didn't know what to do then. She was like, So what did you reckon to that whole interaction?
I think the thing is, Dave, I think a very good point with Boris is he's actually an adult, and so was Cash. So I think the whole interaction was, good guys don't always win. And I think that proof is in the pudding there. Cash, great respect there, talking about, would you like that to your sister? Harrison being a complete bellend and faux apology, didn't really take it. He genuinely got upset, Cash, and just shows that he's a good stock. And I think with Boris is similar. He's a man at the end of the day. These are all man-childs, a lot of them. And I'm not saying that, they can't piss about. But yeah, I just feel that at the end of the day, Boris seemed like a good guy and had a few morals, which is unheard of on Love Island, David.
I think so. Weird to have a Boris who isn't just a fucking buffoon. But anyway, what did you reckon to Jasmine and Jamie's first date? I mean, Jasmine's kind of been quietly getting more popularity, hasn't she? So she came in, usual bombshell stuff. I'm going to create waves, and obviously had that run-in with Ben. But since then, I think I've kind of warmed to her.
Yeah, I think, Yasmin came in the usual stuff, Dave. I'm going to trample on people, not going to stand any messing. I don't care if they're in relationships, blah, blah, blah. We know the producers tee him up with this sort of nonsense. We've seen it many times. And I think ultimately she's been a good sort of in the background contestant on Love Island. I don't think her and Jamie are going to win it, but they could be in the top 5. And they may do, depending on if people get behind her, because she's quite quirky. She seems like quite a nice person, actually. Who, again, someone with a little bit of morals. I'll say all this, and then tomorrow night, she's probably cracking on with Harry or someone. But at the moment, I think she and Jamie's already done a lot, but they're the best of a bad bunch. So, yeah, fair play to her. She's definitely a lot better than when she first came in.
Yeah. And I suppose Joe's question, because if I go, I think Harry and Helena are definitely top 3. That'll happen unless, Harry and Emma have got this plan that they're going to recouple. There is a bit of doubt there. I think Shakira and Connor, I don't really see them being there for the long haul. I think they're still early days, but they've gone very quickly to, we're such good friends, should we take the step? Yep, let's take the step. Oh, fucking hell, falling off a cliff. So unless something changes massively in the next couple of days, I don't see them lasting. But I do still think Shakira will be in the top 2 with someone.
Yeah, I do think you're right on Shakira, Dave. There's a lot of support out there. I just think overall it's been a great series. I think we're going into the last 2 weeks, thank God, some would say. And yeah, I've actually enjoyed it. I think the producers, directors, whatever you want to call them, have got it absolutely perfect. So absolutely bang on. Yeah, and I think that's it. So thank you so much, everyone, for all your support. We really appreciate it. If you do want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @cdrealitycast. If you like Facebook, get over to Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. So, also, if you do want to support us, I forgot that, it was cdrealitycast at Patreon. No, it's not that. It's patreon.com/cdrealitycast. So, the roll call of honour, and a big thank you for today to Melanie, Holly, Darren, Anna, Tilly, Marcy, Stacey, Sinead, Kathleen Sims, Nick, Danielle, Amanda, Larissa, Nicola, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Susan, Tracy, Lucky Lula Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much for supporting our podcast. We really, really appreciate it, guys.
Well, you know, I just couldn't help it. And it was probably, or it feels like a month or a season ago. But, of course, when Tommy got booted out, I just couldn't help but laugh. I mean, mainly the venom was directed at you, but I took some splashbacks as well about, you know, this determination that Tommy was going to win, maybe with who he was coupled up at the time, but maybe someone else. So decided to put a little song together, which we're going to play out to, and it's called Bye Bye Tommy. Bye now.
There once was a lad named Tommy, with biceps and manners and a cheeky grin. He grafted with Megan, stayed loyal and honest, and Joe said, this boy is going to win. Bye, 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 Tommy. Cry, 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 Tommy. He gave them the chat and the smoldering games. Now it's off to back home, no more tanning or kissing games. Started with Megan, then moved fast to Emily, then Lucy, none seemed to last. He whispered regrets, looked sad on the split. We weren't sure if it's all just bullshit. Tommy, cry, 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 Tommy. He gave them the chat and the smoldering games. Now it's off to back home, no more tanning or kissing games.